New Year's Day is observed on January 1st, the first day of the year on the modern Gregorian calendar as well as the Julian calendar. As a date in the Gregorian calendar of Christendom, New Year's Day liturgically marked the feast of the circumcision of Christ, and is still observed as such in the Anglican Church and Lutheran Church. In present day, with most countries now using the Gregorian calendar as their de facto calendar, New Year's Day is probably the most celebrated public holiday, often observed with fireworks at the stroke of midnight as the new year starts in each time zone. History. Mesopotamia instituted the concept of celebrating the new year in 2000 BC. The Romans dedicated New Year's Day to Janus, the pagan god of gates, doors, and beginnings, for whom the first month of the year, January, is also named. The pagan deity Janus was depicted as having two faces, one looking forward and the other backward, suggesting that celebrations of the new year are pagan traditions. Some suggested this occurred in 153 BC, when it was stipulated that the two annual consuls, after whose names the Romans identified the years, acceded to office on that day, though there is no consensus on the question. After Julius Caesar reformed the calendar in 46 BC as the Julian calendar and was subsequently murdered, the Roman Senate voted to deify him on the 1st of January 42 BC, in honor of his life and his institution of the new rationalized calendar. Dates in March, coinciding with the March equinox, the solemnity of the Annunciation of Jesus Christ, or other Christian feasts were used throughout the Middle Ages as the first day of the new year, although their calendars nonetheless often continued to display the months in columns running from January to December. Among the 7th century pagans of Flanders and the Netherlands, it was the custom to exchange gifts on the first day of the new year. This custom was deplored by Saint Eligius, who warned the Flemish and Dutch, "Make vettulas, little figures of the old woman, little deer or iaticos or set tables, for the house elf, compare puck, at night or exchange New Year gifts or supply superfluous drinks," another Yule custom. Most nations of Western Europe officially adopted the 1st of January as New Year's Day somewhat before they adopted the Gregorian calendar. In England, until the adoption of the Gregorian calendar in 1752, the first day of the new year was the Catholic feast of the Annunciation, on the 25th of March, also called Lady Day. Dates predicated on the year beginning on the 25th of March became known as Annunciation-style dates, while dates of the Gregorian calendar commencing on the 1st of January were distinguished as circumcision-style dates. Because this was the date of the Feast of the Circumcision, the observed memorial of the 8th day of Jesus Christ's life after his birth, counted from the latter's observation on Christmas, the 25th of December. Pope Gregory christened the 1st of January as the beginning of the new year according to his reform of the Catholic liturgical calendar. New Year's days in other calendars. In cultures which traditionally or currently use calendars other than the Gregorian, New Year's Day is often also an important celebration. Some countries can currently use the Gregorian and another calendar. New Year's Day in the alternative calendar attracts alternative celebrations of that new year. African Ethiopian New Year called Enkutatиш. It is celebrated on September 11th. Ethiopia uses its own ancient calendar, which was based on the Julian calendar. The new year is the end of the summer rainy season. The Odunda festival is also called the African New Year, is celebrated in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the United States on the second Sunday of June. While the name was based on the Yoruba African culture, its celebration marks the largest African celebration in the world, which more or less was started by a local tradition. East Asian Cambodian New Year is celebrated on April 13th or April 14th. There are 3 days for the Khmer New Year. The first day is called Maha Songkran, the second is called Varak Wanabat, and the final day is called Varak Lo Yom Sak. During these periods, Cambodians often go to pagoda or play traditional games. Phnom Penh is usually quiet during Khmer New Year, as most of the Cambodians prefer spending it at their respective hometowns. Chinese New Year is celebrated in many countries around the world. It is the first day of the lunar calendar and is corrected for the solar every 3 years. The holiday normally falls between January 20th and February 20th. The holiday is celebrated with food, families, lucky money, and many other red things for good luck. Lion and dragon dances, drums, fireworks, firecrackers, and other types of entertainment fill the streets on this day. Japanese New Year is celebrated on January 1st because the Gregorian calendar is now used instead of the Chinese calendar. Korean New Year, called Seollal, is the first day of the lunar calendar. Koreans also celebrate Solar New Year's Day on January 1st each year, following the Gregorian calendar. New Year's Day is a national holiday, so people get the day off while they have a minimum of 3 days off on Lunar New Year. Koreans celebrate New Year's Day by preparing food for their ancestors' spirits, visiting ancestors' graves, and playing Korean games such as Yunori with families. Young children give respect to their parents, grandparents, or relatives, and other elders by bowing down in a traditional way and are given good wishes and some money by the elders. Families enjoy the New Year also by counting down until 12 a.m. on New Year's Eve. Thai New Year is celebrated on April 13th or April 14th and is called Songkran in the local language. People usually come out to splash water on one another. The throwing of water originated as a blessing, by capturing the water after it had been poured over the Buddhas for cleansing and then using this blessed water to give good fortune to elders and family by gently pouring it on the shoulder. Vietnamese New Year, more commonly known by its shortened name Tet or Vietnamese Lunar New Year, is the most important and popular holiday and festival in Vietnam. The holiday normally falls between the 20th of January and the 20th of February. It is the Vietnamese New Year, marking the arrival of spring based on the Chinese calendar, a lunisolar calendar. The name Tet Nguyen Than is Sino-Vietnamese for Feast of the First Morning, derived from the Han Nong characters. European in the Gwaun Valley, Pembrokeshire, Wales. The New Year is celebrated on January 13th, based on the Julian calendar. See New Year celebrations in Gwaun Valley. Middle Eastern Hijri New Year in the Islamic culture is also known as Islamic New Year, as the day that marks the beginning of a new Islamic calendar year. New Year moves from year to year because the Islamic calendar is a lunar calendar. The first day of the year is observed on the first day of Muharram, the first month in the Islamic calendar. Nowruz marks the first day of spring and the beginning of the year in Iranian calendar. It is celebrated on the day of the astronomical vernal equinox, which usually occurs on March 21st or the previous, following day depending on where it is observed. Nowruz has been celebrated for over 3,000 years by the related cultural continent. The holiday is also celebrated and observed by many parts of Central Asia, South Asia, northwestern China, Crimea and some groups in the Balkans, as well as being a Zoroastrian holiday and having significance amongst the Zoroastrian ancestors of modern Iranians. The same time is celebrated in the Indian subcontinent as the New Year. The moment the sun crosses the celestial equator and equalizes night and day is calculated exactly every year, and Iranian families gather together to observe the rituals. Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, is celebrated by Jews in Israel and throughout the world. The date is not set according to the Gregorian calendar, but it always falls during September or October. The holiday is celebrated by religious services and special meals. January 1st, the New Year according to the Gregorian calendar, is not celebrated widely in Israel. South Asian, India. Christians in India celebrate January 1st as the New Year according to the Gregorian calendar. Catholic Christians also celebrate January 1st as the Solemnity of Mary, the Mother of God, the liturgical feast of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Diwali-related New Year's celebrations include Marwari New Year and Gujarati New Year. Indian New Year's Day has several variations depending on the region and is based on the Hindu calendar. Hindu and Hinduism. Different regional cultures celebrate New Year at different times of the year. In Assam, Bengal, Kerala, Nepal, Orissa, Punjab and Tamil Nadu, households celebrate the New Year where the sun enters Aries on the Hindu calendar. This is normally on April 14th or April 15th, depending on the leap year. Elsewhere in northern, central India, the Vikram Sambat calendar is followed. According to that, the New Year Day is the first day of the Chaitra month, also known as Chaitra Shukla Pratipada or Gudi Padwa. This basically is the first month of the Hindu calendar, the first Shukla Paksha and the first day. This normally comes around March 23-24, mostly around the spring equinox in Gregorian calendar. The New Year is celebrated by paying respect to elders in the family and by seeking their blessings. They also exchange tokens of good wishes for a healthy and prosperous year ahead. Malayalam New Year is celebrated either on the first day of the month of Medam in mid-April, which is known as Vishu, or the first day of the month of Chingam in the Malayalam calendar in mid-August according to another reckoning. Unlike most other calendar systems in India, the New Year's Day on the Malayalam calendar is not based on any astronomical event. It is just the first day of the first of the 12 months on the Malayalam calendar. The Malayalam calendar originated in 825 CE, based on general agreement among scholars, with the reopening of the city of Kollam, which had been destroyed by a natural disaster. Nepal Samba is the Nepalese New Year celebration, which also coincides with the Diwali festival. The Sikh New Year is celebrated as per the Nanak Shahi calendar. The epoch of this calendar is the birth of the first Sikh Guru, Guru Nanak, in 1469. New Year's Day falls annually on what is March 14th in the Gregorian Western calendar. Sinhalese New Year is celebrated in Sri Lankan culture predominantly by the Sri Lankan Sinhalese, while the Tamil New Year on the same day is celebrated by Sri Lankan Tamils. The Sinhalese New Year marks the end of harvest season, by the month of Bak between April 13th and April 14th. There is an astrologically generated time gap between the passing year and the new year, which is based on the passing of the sun from the Meena Rashi to the Mesha Rashi in the celestial sphere. The astrological time difference between the new year and the passing year is celebrated with several Buddhist rituals and customs that are to be concentrated on, which are exclusive of all types of work. After Buddhist rituals and traditions are attended to, Sinhala and Tamil New Year-based social gatherings and festive parties with the aid of firecrackers and fireworks would be organized. The exchange of gifts, cleanliness, the lighting of the oil lamp, making Kirabath, and even the Asian kola significant aspects of the Sinhalese New Year. Tamil New Year is celebrated on April 13th or April 14th. Traditionally, it is celebrated as Chithirai Thirunal in parts of Tamil Nadu to mark the event of the sun entering Aries. Panchangam is read in temples to mark the start of the year. Telugu New Year, Kannada New Year is celebrated in March, April. Traditionally, it is celebrated as Chaitram Chaitra Shuddhapadyami in parts of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka to mark the event of New Year's Day for the people of the Deccan region of India. It falls on a different day every year because the Hindu calendar is a lunisolar calendar. The Saka calendar begins with the month of Chaitra and Ugadi. Ugadi marks the first day of the new year. Chaitra is the first month in Panchanga, which is the Indian calendar. Panchangam is read in temples to mark the start of the year. Traditional and modern celebrations and customs. New Year's Eve January 1st represents the fresh start of a new year after a period of remembrance of the passing year, including on radio, television and in newspapers, which starts in early December in countries around the world. Publications have year-end articles that review the changes during the previous year. In some cases, publications may set their entire year work alight in hope that the smoke emitted from the flame brings new life to the company. There are also articles on planned or expected changes in the coming year. This day is traditionally a religious feast, but since the 1900s has also become an occasion to celebrate the night of December 31st. Called New Year's Eve. There are fireworks at midnight at the moment the New Year arrives. Regional celebrations in European countries. The New Year is greeted with private fireworks. On New Year's Day, people in certain countries gather on beaches and run into the water to celebrate the New Year. In Canada, the Republic of Ireland, the United Kingdom, the United States, and the Netherlands, this is very popular. These events are sometimes known as polar bear plunges, and are sometimes organized by groups to raise money for charity. Polar bear clubs in many Northern Hemisphere cities near bodies of water have a tradition of holding organized plunges on New Year's Day. National celebrations throughout Great Britain. There are many celebrations across the island, particularly in Scotland. In London, thousands gather along the embankment on the River Thames to watch the fireworks around the London Eye. The new year officially starts when Big Ben strikes 12. In Scotland, there are many unique customs associated with the new year. These form the Scottish celebration Hogmanay, the Scots name for New Year's Eve. The street party in Princes Street in Edinburgh is one famous example. In Wales, Caelannig is celebrated, with celebrations attracting thousands of people to the capital, Cardiff. In Greece and Cyprus, families and relatives switch off the lights at midnight, then celebrate by cutting the Vasilopita, which usually contains 1 coin or equivalent. Whoever wins expects luck for the whole year. After the pie, a traditional game of cards called Triantarana follows. In Nassau, Bahamas, the Junkanoo Parade takes place. In the Philippines, New Year's is considered part of the Christmas holiday. Noise is made on New Year's Eve with firecrackers and horns to dispel evil spirits and to prevent them from bringing bad luck to the coming new year. Tables are laden with food for the medianoche, and a basket of 12 different round fruits is displayed to symbolize prosperity in each of the coming 12 months. Public New Year's parties are organized by city governments, and are very well attended. In Russia and the other 14 former republics of the Soviet Union, the celebration of Novigod is greeted by fireworks and drinking champagne. Because religion was suppressed in the Soviet Union, the New Year holiday took on many attributes associated with Christmas in other countries, including Christmas trees, Dead Moroz and family celebrations with lavish food and gifts. In Moscow, the president of Russia counts down the final seconds of the old year. The Kremlin's landmark Spassky clock tower chimes in the new year and then the anthem starts. It is customary to make a wish while the clock chimes. The Old New Year is celebrated on January 13th. Although not an official holiday, it marks the end of the holiday season and is usually when people take down trees and other decorations. In Davos, Switzerland, the final match of the Spengler Cup ice hockey tournament is usually held on this day by tradition. In the United States, it is traditional to spend this occasion together with loved ones. A toast is made to the new year, with kisses, fireworks and parties among the customs. It is popular to make a New Year's resolution, although that is optional. In the country's most famous New Year celebration in New York City, the 11,875-pound, 12-foot diameter Times Square ball located high above 1 Times Square is lowered starting at 11:59 p.m. with a countdown from 60 seconds until 1 second when it reaches the bottom of its tower. The arrival of the new year is announced at the stroke of midnight with fireworks, music and a live celebration that is broadcast worldwide. In France, some regard the weather as the prediction of that year. Wind blowing east, fruit will yield. Wind blowing west, fish and livestock will be bumper. Wind blowing south, there will be good weather all year round, and wind blowing north, there will be crop failure. People would like to toast for the new year. In Spain, it is customary to have 12 grapes at hand when the clock strikes 12 at midnight. 1 grape is eaten on each stroke. If all the grapes are eaten within the period of the strikes, it means good luck in the new year. New Year's Day. The celebrations held worldwide on January 1st as a part of New Year's Day commonly include the following: parades. American football. In the United States, January 1st is the traditional date for many postseason college football bowl games, which are usually accompanied by parades and other activities to celebrate the events. Football. In Europe, association football, where a full fixture program is usually played throughout the Premier League and the rest of the league, non-league system in England. Ice hockey, most famously, the Winter Classic in North America, a National Hockey League game that is played outdoors. Concerts. Entertainment, usually enjoyed from the comfort of home. Family time. Traditional meals. Church services. An annual dip in ice-cold water by hearty individuals, most famously by members of the Polar Bear Club. New Year's babies. A common image used, often as an editorial cartoon, is that of an incarnation of Father Time wearing a sash across his chest with the previous year printed on it, passing on his duties to the baby new year. An infant wearing a sash with the new year printed on it. Babies born on New Year's Day are commonly called New Year babies. Hospitals, such as the Dyersburg Regional Medical Center in the U.S., give out prizes to the first baby born in that hospital in the new year. These prizes are often donated by local businesses. Prizes may include various baby-related items such as baby formula, baby blankets, diapers, and gift certificates to stores which specialize in baby-related merchandise.